Hello everybody, it is time for another YouTube video. Tonight was the final showing of the last episode of Naika Yama Oi, and we're going to do a video about my reactions to that, some summaries, and this video is going to be in English. For Thai fans, you can practice your English speaking, and for international fans, here you go. Because I've done a lot of interviews in Thai and I thought I'd give this one for you guys. So let's jump into it. When we talk about getting this project, like, oh, I got the role. So we remember that it was late 2019 and I had been studying Thai for about 7 to 8 months at a level that was sort of conversational. And I got the role from Kun Chayadam because he thought that my face and my look really fit the role of Akisuki Koji-san because we're both Japanese American. But yeah, basically my face, and he saw from my Instagram profile that I looked like somebody who, was really hungry for a role and really interested in doing something. There was a lot of worries because my Thai wasn't that strong and this whole series was gonna be in Thai. And on top of that, I had to learn Japanese, which although my face was, maybe Kun Taeyadam thought that I could speak Japanese because I had Japanese American in my profile. But he found out, oh, I can't do that. But that's okay. You can still do it because the Japanese parts aren't that big. But I was still a bit nervous about that. Luckily, I managed to do it. So yeah, those two things, basically Thai, Japanese, and also my acting. Had no real experience. So nervous about a lot of things, but also extremely excited because I had made my dream happen. Suddenly I was given this opportunity to play the lead guy in my very first series in Thailand. So yeah. So the first steps were meeting the cast and getting the script and understanding everything that happens throughout the whole series. And so we spent lots of days reading the whole script, and I actually got to meet the cast at the house of the director. I got to meet Mook. Actually, I met Mook before anybody else because I was spending the most scenes with her, and our relationship throughout the whole series had to be the strongest and the most believable. So I met with her, and I actually did the most acting workshops with her as well. But we went through read-throughs with almost everybody. We went through Pikanom, Jean, Foy, and Mook was there as well. So moving past the workshop part, where we actually went through a fair amount of acting courses with KOJI, and she was really great. She really brought everybody out of their comfort zone and got us into these kind of relationships where I had to be this flirtatious guy and I had to be this boss guy and this friends with somebody else. It's sort of learning how to be another person, which I hadn't really had experience doing before as an actor. I had basic acting classes, but this was really getting into it and really enjoyable. Then as we were filming, of course, I was extremely nervous at first, but through basically willpower, forcing myself to, get better and better at speaking Thai, made it through the first part of the series, and then boom, COVID happens and we have to stop everything for months. Maybe a month and a half to 2 months. And so I took that time to regroup and take some rest and learn Thai, keep listening to Thai, keep working through it. And I developed this technique for sending my lines to my language teacher, my Thai teacher. And he just sent these lines back to me so I could listen to them and just listen to them and learn that way instead of trying to read them from the script. So then after the directors changed and things like that, we went back on set and continued to finish the series, and I actually felt a lot more confident this second time around because I'd gotten the time to feel more confident about myself and more confident in my speaking ability. And I had already gone through kind of the first part of being nervous and everything like that. And so the second part of filming actually went a lot smoother until the last day when it was all finished and everybody was like, congratulations. And that was probably one of the happiest days of my life. Definitely the proudest moment of my life. I've definitely talked about that before, about finishing my first series ever. And yeah, that was kind of the overview of the filming process. So let's talk about Mo first. She was like my partner in crime the whole time. It was really fun getting to know her throughout the whole process because as my Thai speaking skill developed over time, we were able to get closer as friends and as co-stars on this project. But even from day one, knowing that I was this foreigner coming into Thailand who magically got this role, she was really supportive from the beginning and like helped me along throughout the whole way. So I really have to applaud her for that because she made the process very, very easy, very, very comfortable. So thank you. If you're watching this, you're probably not. Maybe. So let's go on to พี่ขนมจีนนะครับพี่ครับขอบคุณมากครับที่ช่วยลุกมากในเรื่องนี้นะครับ when I was watching the series and watching her and in our interactions, I really hated her because the directors made her seem like this perfect villain, and she played the part so well as this woman who loves this attractive young boy who is a bar host guy, and then makes him be the CEO of this company, and then he goes off and loves somebody else and leaves her and that sort of thing. So it's really understandable why her character is the way that she is, because she feels like KOJI really owes her something. He is her person in her eyes, and I think that her motivations really make sense. But it's still a really hard role to do, and she did it very well. I think my scenes with her were probably some of my best scenes in the series because she's able to send across emotions, like communicate so well with her body language and her speaking, and it really makes it easy for me to feel those emotions as well. So let's talk about Foy. He was another fantastic villain. Everybody around me who watched the show along with me complimented his acting the entire time. I completely agree because when we were in scenes together, the tension in the room was you could feel it. You could feel that we really disliked each other in the scenes, and he's so good at showing that on his face and on his body, that he's just so condescending and unhappy with everything that's going on. There was no better person to play this role than him. พี่เลียวตาซังนะครับขอบคุณมากครับที่เป็นเพื่อนที่ดีมากๆแล้วก็ทำให้เราดีใจตลอดเวลานะครับ when he was on set, it was so great. Every time that we were together off set and on screen, I feel like it was the best of time. He lit up everybody's eyes and put a smile on everybody's face every time he was on set because he's such a wonderful energy. I mean, he's literally a comedian. So yeah, thank you for casting him, Vietnam. Really great. I think given my experience at the time for the actor that I was, having very little experience and all the obstacles that I had to face going through this process, I think I did the best that I could. Being said, I think if I were to do this project now, the series would come out much better, at least from my perspective, because during that time, I think I probably had to focus 60 to 70% of my brain power concentration on just the dialogue and the movements within the scene of like walking from point A to point B and then saying this thing and then feeling the right things and just showing the correct emotions across to the audience. But that isn't really acting. Acting is about believing. It's about completely believing that you are that person and completely forgetting that you're on screen, that there's cameras, that this is a project, that the person in front of you is an actor. It's forgetting all of that and being completely in the moment, and I know that I didn't come anywhere close to that. That being said, I thanks you so much, all of the people who watched the show and said that my acting was good and that was a great base to start with. It makes me feel really great that I tried so hard and that people saw that he really can be an actor. So that was, thank you. I think the last scene, the very last scene of the whole series is where KOJI-sang and Numnim-sang are sitting on a bench together and they're just kind of living in this happy moment and reflecting on what's happened, and they've resolved their love, and they're gonna continue to fight on and presumably get married and have a completely happy ending. In that moment, I think I really was able to believe to the fullest extent that I was capable of, that I was that character. And it's unfortunate that level of realization for me came at the ending of the series as opposed to the very beginning, when it could have all gone very smoothly. But yeah, I'm the happiest when I know, or when I feel so completely invested in the character. That's when I feel like I can let myself go and really become something else. And so that's why that was my favorite scene. So I think these characters are very different in a lot of ways, but also similar in a lot of ways as well, at least in their core. So I think I see Koji-san as somebody who has big goals, big dreams, somebody who really wants to accomplish something. In addition to that, he really cares about the people close to him, and particularly the people in his company that I think Koji-san considers his family, that he would go to lengths to protect them, like he did when he was going to let himself be fired if it means that he could protect the people in the company. So it really shows that he cares about family, and of course his love for the woman that he's willing to fight and protect for at all costs. His willingness to try, and I think I have those things. I strive to make them better all the time. Make myself the kind of person that really fights and does the things that he believes in and that sort of thing. I also really care about family. I care about the people around me. I would protect them, and it's my ultimate dream to have a family, have children, and make sure that our lives can be smooth in the future and that sort of thing. So I think we're similar in those aspects, sort of like the core aspects of being like a good person, a good man. We're different in a lot of ways as well. Koji has a lot of secrets that he really reluctantly speaks. He only manages to speak them out in the end, whereas this whole conflict, I think, with him in his past, I think I would have resolved much earlier, because I would be much more open to saying the things that I had done in the past, because I don't like secrets. I like keeping things out on the table and being honest with people and that sort of thing, because it makes communication so much easier and smoother. The stillness, the composure of Koji-san, because he's a Japanese boss. He's very strict and kind of calculating and not showing a lot of emotion, whereas I think I'm much more expressive. I have a lot more openness to the way I carry myself. Koji-san is he's a very jealous person. He's possessive and unwilling to let Numnim-san do anything related to other kinds of guys, and that's just the way he is, because he loves her very, very much, but also that there's that jealousy that maybe is a little too much, but it needs to be that way for the drama to be interesting, that sort of thing. I'm very much not that kind of a person, very trusting. Yeah, I'm not a very jealous person. The other thing is that he gets angry. There's a lot of scenes where he sort of shouts and blows up in people's faces and becomes very stern, and I'm really bad at getting angry, which is great for for my life. I think being angry is a hard emotion to kind of deal with and have with you all the time, because I don't see it as useful. So throughout my life I've sort of tried to let go of anger, right? But actually, on a side note, for acting in general, anger is a very common part of life, and so for me, I think I need to let myself be angry and not necessarily push that away, because it's helpful for understanding people and how different emotions work, that sort of thing. So yes, those are sort of the four big differences with me and Koji-san. So secret keeping, jealousy, anger and stiffness ความนิ่ง So I think that the takeaways for me are going to be about how to be a better actor and how to better portray a character and be on set and that sort of thing. So I think the very first thing is you got to do your homework. You have to prepare a lot for your character. Make sure that you've memorized your lines to the point where you really don't have to think about them anymore. So you can just say them without thinking about what you're saying. That way, when you want to say them with real emotion, then you can focus on actually being in the present and being with your person and just responding really naturally with what you want to say, and what your character is saying. Second part is sleep. Sleep is very important. So on the off days when you're not on set, it's very, very important that you take your rest, and that you relax and try to not think about, like for a day, just don't think about the project, don't think about the character, so you can really kind of let yourself go from that concentrated, really difficult energy space, so that then you can then go back and okay, you get the lines and you get all the scenes you can do, and then you can review them all again. But it's really important to have at least one day offset for you to not have to think about it. That's really important. So yeah, sleep, rest, doing your homework, yeah, not procrastinating, that sort of thing. The third part is believing. I think I focused a little bit too much on the language. Yes, it was really important for me to be able to speak Thai, but I think if I'd focused more on the acting part and just being in the present and understanding the situation and letting the emotions flow freely, then his reactions would be more genuine and less scripted, I think. So when in doubt, believe would be my closing thoughts for the series. All right, so that was my experiences, different takeaways from the whole project. I want to thank everybody who's been a part of this with me from the beginning, all my friends and family, the team, the cast, the director, both directors on the film. Thank GMMTV for giving me the opportunity to be on your TV screens on your channel. Thank you all so much, and I hope that you'll continue to stay with me and follow me for the next projects that we're doing. Nang Fa Kabale is my next upcoming lakon, which we're gonna try and start filming next month, but I don't know the specific dates for that, but that's when we're gonna try and start production. And then after that, Mama Koko, which is another really great project where I will be playing a Japanese guy again. But he's not the Akizuki KOJI, he's a failed Yakuza, so that will be a really, really fun. I also have other projects that we're working on that I can't really talk about right now, but just follow the Instagram. And also, I haven't talked about this yet at all, but this is a sneak peek at a new collection that we're hopefully going to release in September. So thank you all so much for watching, and I'll get you in the next one.